What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Keither. I know what you're thinking. This looks like a regular gaming video, but actually it's the first story time I'm going to be making on my channel. This story time is about getting laced. And I know what you're thinking. You're 15 years old. Why the fuck are you smoking weed? And if I'm being honest, because the town I live in, is boring as shit, and the only time I have fun is when I'm high or playing video games, and I can't always play video games, so I get high. And yes, I've been laced before. It was not fun. So I'm going to tell you about what the day was like I got laced, what it was like getting laced, what my experiences were, and what I'm going to do better next time. So yeah, let's get into it. So basically the day was like any other day. Get up, go to school, blah blah blah. Nothing interesting. But near the end of the day, I missed my bus. My buddy, what's his name? Well, I know his name, but we'll call him S for this story. My buddy S, sees that I missed my bus. He's like, "Hey, you want to come over? We're gonna go to my girlfriend's house. We'll call her T. We're gonna go to my girlfriend's house, and we're gonna smoke a shit ton of weed." And I was like, "Oh, fucking bet." So I call my dad because I'm at my dad's house, and I'm like, "Hey, going to my buddy's house. I'll be home by like 6." He says it's fine, go to his house. Nothing really happens. We don't smoke weed yet. So at his house, I play Rainbow Six Siege, I think it was, and it was the most boring time I've ever had. The only reason I was there is because there was weed in my future. So after, I'm not going to be very detailed until shit starts getting interesting. I'm going to warn you that now. So after about 45 minutes at his house, we go to buy the weed. So we go to this little old lady. We'll call her Ricardo. She's a lady, by the way. I just feel like being a cunt. We'll call her Ricardo. So we're walking to Ricardo's house, and we stop at S's grandma's. I don't know her name. I'm not even going to give her a name. She is useless to the story. S asks her for a ride. She says she will. We go and buy the weed from Ricardo. And when we're there, I wanted to meet her because apparently her whole thing is selling weed to high schoolers so that they don't get laced. Bullshit. So we go to Ricardo. She sells them weed, made me stay outside. It's my money. S stole shit from my wallet and didn't tell me until after we smoked weed. And he's like, "Yeah, this was your money." Anyways, so buys the weed with my money. I did not know. He shows up, we walk to S's grandma's house. She gives us a ride downtown, and we wait at T's mother's work. So we wait there for about 20 minutes. T's mother gets off work, comes and picks us all up. We go on top of the hill to her mother's house. Her mother lives about a 10-minute walk away from where I live at my mother's. So the plan was I would get stoned out of my mind, go to my mom's house, get on my bike, and go straight to my dad's by 6 o'clock. So we get to T's house at around 4:30, and as soon as we get there, we walk into her shed, and we're sitting there. Her mom knows we're smoking. She doesn't give a fuck. She just doesn't like us smoking in the house. We walk into her shed. She runs inside to grab the bong, and we sit there and we wait for, I shit you not, 45 minutes. We're waiting, just me and S, while T goes inside, grabs my cousin, we'll call her K, and her boyfriend, whose name I cannot remember. So, the people in the story right now are Ricardo. We're not talking about her anymore. We have Ricardo, S, T, and K. And there's K's boyfriend. Can't remember her. So, we wait there for them all to show up. K shows up. K's boyfriend. We're all chilling, and then they start grinding the weed in the shittiest grinder I've ever seen. It takes another 5 minutes to get the bud ground up. We get it all ground, and Kay is like, "Hey, do you want to do a popper?" Now, if you know me, which you probably don't, I do not fuck around with cigarettes. I don't fuck around with tobacco. I don't do nicotine anymore. And so I say, "No, I don't want to do a popper. That's fucked up. I don't want to get addicted to nicotine again." So she says, "Okay," packs me a bowl. I sniff the bag before I smoke. It smells just like coffee. Thought it was the greatest smell ever. I love the smell, and I love the taste of weed. It's my favorite smell and taste ever. So I smoke the bowl, cough my lungs out, and my first thought is, damn, that hit a bit harder than it usually does. Probably because I haven't smoked out of a bong in fucking years. So, smoke out of a bong, cough my lungs up, go over, sit down, and I just sit there, and I don't feel anything at all. Then I watch them all smoke, so I start like scratching my finger, and I don't even think about it until I realize that I'm zoning out on me scratching my finger. And then I realized, hey, I'm getting stoned now. Awesome. So I'm scratching my finger, and while I'm doing this, I zone out really hard. They're listening to like really trippy music, this whole story. So I'm zoning out really hard, scratching my thumb, and then I look down on it and I peeled the skin off my thumb, like fucking a lot of it. I peeled a shit ton of my skin off of my thumb. So I sit there, peel the skin off my thumb, look at it, and then I start like getting dizzy. I start like, oh my god, I'm gonna fall off this stool. So I'm sitting on a stool. So I'm like, fuck this, hop off the stool, go and sit down on this couch, and I'm sitting there, and everybody's standing there talking to each other. I watch her take a hit off her bong, and she does that shit like Thomas the Tank. Breathes in, lifts her head slightly, breathes out. She does that like 12 times. So I watch her hit the bong. At this point, I am fucked beyond existence. And then I look down at my hands, and I shit you not, it was like that show Invincible. My hands looked like an anime. And it was fucked up. I look at them, I was like, holy fuck, this weed is stronger than anything I've ever smoked before. Yeah, no shit. So it's stronger than anything I've ever smoked before. Every now and then, I'll like move, and I'll feel sober, like I'll come back to reality, but then I'll go straight back into my hands look like an anime. So I walk over, I'm fucked out of my mind, and T looks at me and she's like, "Oh, how do you feel?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty sober. I'm fucked up at this point. I just didn't want to seem like a bitch in front of all these people who have never smoked around." So I'm sitting there, and I'm fucked out of my mind, so I start playing Cookie Clicker on my phone. And then my homie, we'll call him Jay. My homie Jay, I forgot to mention, he's there. My homie Jay, he leans over. This is the first time I've ever met him, so he's not my homie yet. So he leans over, and he looks at me playing Cookie Clicker. He's like, "Oh shit, you're playing some Cookie Clicker, huh?" Like, "Yeah, man, I'm really stoned right now, so I just want to chill before I like fuck myself over." So it's like, okay. So he downloads Cookie Clicker. We're sitting there, we're playing Cookie Clicker on our phones like a bunch of fucking 2-year-olds. And we play Cookie Clicker for about 45 minutes, and then I look at the clock, and I'm like, oh fuck, it is 5:45, I gotta go. My buddy S, he's like, yay, you should put some eye drops in, your eyes are red as fuck. So I put eye drops, not even that, it was a lot more of a struggle than putting eye drops in. I walk over, I sit down, and he takes my hat off, and if you know me in real life, again, you probably don't, nobody takes my hat off. But I'm baked on my mind. He takes my hat off, leans my head back, opens my eyelid, pinches like the tiniest drop in. I close my eyes instantaneously. I panic. He's like, what the fuck? Opens my eye again. Before he even drops it, I close my eyes, panicked again. So he gets it in the other eye, and then he looks over at his girlfriend T. He's like, okay, this isn't happening. He's panicked. He's blinking too much. I was like, oh well, fuck it. I just won't make eye contact with my parents. So I get up, I go to leave, and then he starts talking to me. So I talk to him for about 15 minutes. He's like, what time is it? Oh, fuck. It's 6:15. You gotta go. And I was like, oh, shit. So I start leaving. He's like, yo, your hat. I turn around, grab my hat. Thank you for reminding me. I usually never forget my hat. Grab my hat. Yo, S, are you gonna walk me to the door? Like, are you gonna walk me down the street? Give me enough time to put in some fucking music. He's like, I guess I will, but I kind of want to chill here. I was like, dude, it'll take 5 minutes. Just walk me to the end of the street. It's like, okay. So he's walking me to the end of the street. I'm listening to music. And at this point, I'm so fucked up. And as I'm putting in music, I'm walking up this hill. And then my mom calls. Fuck. So my mom calls. I pick it up. And when I'm stoned, I can do the best sober voice ever. It's probably just a normal voice, but I like pay attention to that phone call. I could not do that this time. I answered, I was like, hello? She's like, hey, are you almost on your way home? It's 6:15. You're supposed to be at your dad's by 6. I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way. Well, I'm talking to her. I can't even remember what I'm saying, but I can see myself in the third person. And I'm not sure if this is just in Canada, but there's this commercial for Lucky Charms, or maybe it's Rice Krispies. There's this Rice Krispies commercial where they're walking and their legs get really long and you can see behind their head. That's exactly what I did, and I almost fucking fell backwards. And I hang up on my mom. I look at S. I was like, dude, I'm so fucked up right now. I just almost fell backwards. I could see myself in the third person. He's like, oh, well, that sober voice was pretty good, so just do that till you get home. Go straight to your room. I was like, I can't. I'm getting on a bike and I'm riding home. So I'm walking for a bit more, and I have the pasties really bad at this point. So I start smacking my tongue around in my mouth, as you do. And while I'm smacking my tongue in my mouth, he's gone already. I have music listening. I'm listening to One Thing Right by Kane Brown. And that song, like, just the beat of the song was fucking with my head. So I'm, like, smacking my tongue because I have cotton mouth. And I shit you not, I was so fucked up, I could see a 3D scan of my tongue. Like, just in my mouth, just smacking my tongue against the roof of my mouth. I'm that fucked up. So I'm sitting there, fucked out of my mind. I can see myself in the third person and a 3D scan of my tongue in my mouth. And then I'm realizing, holy fuck, this is not weed. I am really fucked. And my parents were, like, anti-weed. Like, they do not want me smoking weed at all. So I know that I am fucked up to the point where I need to call my mother. But I don't want to call my mom because I feel like she'll get angry. So I call my stepdad. He's the person that I trust the most. He's the person who I feel like I can tell that I'm high off my ass. So I call him. He doesn't answer. Call my mom. Call her. I'm like, hey, I'm on my way home. Don't get mad. Instantly she knows I fucked up. She's like, what did you do? I was like, yeah, I'm hanging out with S and I toked. She's like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, I can see cartoons. I can see myself in the third person. I can see, like, a 3D scan of my tongue. She's like, what the fuck did you smoke? She's, like, instantly mad at me. I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought I would be sober by now. I was at their house for an hour and a half. I figured I would have at least come down a little bit. She's like, well, why would you smoke? I was like, well, because they're all smoking. I figured I could have. She's like, well, I'm kind of pissed off. I hang up on her after like 10 minutes of talking, and I'm almost at my house. Then she calls me back. She's like, hey, I'm not mad. I just want to know what you're smoking. I was like, yeah, I understand. I should not be seeing cartoons. So she hangs up, and I see my house. And then my stepdad calls, and I start talking to him. He's like, so your mom told me you're high. I was like, yeah, I'm really high. And then my phone dies. As soon as my phone dies, I'm like, fuck. So I start walking home, I get into the driveway, and I'm zoning out so hard, and I can still see everything in cartoons. He walks over to me, and he's like, so, you smoked? I was like, yeah, like the tiniest bit. He's like, well, how high are you? I was like, fucking Mars. Because when I get stoned, for some reason, I think it's a good idea to measure how high I am in planets. If I say Jupiter, I'm fucked up. I should have said Uranus, because I was so royally fucked, I decided to say Mars. Anyways, I am fucked up beyond recognition. Tell him I'm high to Mars, and he's like, well, the best thing you can do is go downstairs and play PlayStation. So I'm like, yeah, completely forget I'm supposed to go to my dad's house. Go downstairs, start playing PlayStation. Don't even start playing PlayStation. Fuck that. Remove that last 5 seconds. I go downstairs, look for the PlayStation controller for 3 milliseconds. I see it, think, fuck it, I don't feel like explaining to my friends I'm high. So I just go, lay down on the couch, and pass the fuck out for like 3 hours. So it's 9 o'clock at night now. And I wake up, and my first thought is, fuck. So I'm like, Chris, can you please call my dad and say that I am not going home tonight? He's like, yeah, I'll do that. So he calls my dad, and he says, okay. So I'm laying there, and I start, like, passing out again, and he comes downstairs to, like, show me a funny video, and I, like, giggle at it, and he's like, so are you still high? 3 hours later, and I took a nap, so I should not be this high. It's like, are you still high? I'm 4.5 hours deep. Are you still high? Yes, I am. I'm really baked. So he's asking me a bunch of questions. I am not speaking English. At one point, I zoned out on my wall and start just spouting nonsense. He's like, "What are you talking about?" And I look at him. I'm like, "I'm talking about the coffee I had this morning. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "I'm asking you how high you are. How much did you do?" I was like, "Oh, you know a dime bag? Because, like, a dime bag's very small. One nug pinched into the bottom of the bowl." I was measuring that. Like, not. I was like, "You know how much a dime bag is? That's about how much weed I smoked." Instantaneously, should not have said that. He thought I was doing coke. So he's like, "What did you do?" I was like, "I only did weed." He's like, "Are you lying to me?" I was like, "I did weed. That's the only thing I did voluntarily." He's like, "Are you sure you didn't do cocaine?" I was like, "No, I don't fuck with anything worse than weed. I did not do any other drug on purpose." So he's like, "Okay." Then my mom gets home and she's talking to me. I'm still fucked out of my mind. And I walk upstairs, eat a bowl of soup, go straight back downstairs, start falling asleep. Every 5 minutes, my stepdad wakes me up and he's like trying to ask me questions to make sure I'm not overdosing. And I'm just answering the most bullshit excuses ever. So he probably thought I was overdosed. So, bullshit excuses, bullshit answers, none of it made sense. My mom, she's like, "Hey, I'm running to Walmart. I'm going to buy a drug test, the most expensive one they have, so I know that it's for real." So she goes to Walmart, buys the most expensive drug test they have. I think it was like $50. She comes home, piss in this cup. Go into the bathroom, piss in a cup, give it to her. They go into my room because they don't want my sister knowing that I'm high. Go into my room, they test it. "Hey, Gage, come here." At this point, I'm slowly starting to come down. "Hey, Gage, come here." So I walk in there, and my stepdad's like, "So, you did heroin." I was like, "What the fuck do you mean I did heroin?" He looks at it, and he's like, "Read this." He's like, "You did synthetic heroin. That's the stuff they give people at hospitals." He's like, "You did synthetic heroin, and it's tested positive for synthetic heroin and antidepressants." I was like, "Okay, so synthetic heroin is why I want to do shit. Antidepressants is why I can't feel my body." He's like, "Yeah, that's probably right." So after I find that out, I go upstairs, I eat so much food, drink so much water, it was fucked up. Then nothing else happens that night. Find out I do heroin, that's fucked up. The next Monday at school, I walk over and I'm like, "Hey, so that weed you bought off of Ricardo, that was fucking laced." He's like, "No, it wasn't. You're just a bitch. You got too high." "No, motherfucker. I did a drug test. I was laced with fucking heroin." He's like, "Well, why didn't we get high?" And I was like, "Cause you buy off sketchy West Side dealers. That's why. You're used to that shit." And he's like, "Oh, bullshit. You didn't get high. You're just a lightweight. Fuck you, S." That's what I said. "Fuck you," and I left. My cousin, Kay, she didn't believe me either. So she's like making fun of me. Everybody who smoked with me, TSK, fucking everybody is like, "Oh, you're just a lightweight. You did not get laced." Bullshit, motherfucker. I know I was laced. Fuck you. So, I'm fucked up, out of my mind, knowing that I am laced, and I'm sitting there, fuck you, I am high. So then my fucking mother sends a picture of the drug test to my cousin. Next day at school, yeah, he was laced. Heroin, antidepressants, he was laced. I saw the picture. They're like, "Oh, fuck, maybe this is real." So they're all starting to believe me now. And then my cousin's like, "Dude, I was wondering, you were tweaking so fucking hard." I was like, "Right?" She's like, "You're sitting there and you're like scratching everything. You're playing with everything. I thought you were just really fucked up." I was like, "No, I was fucking laced." So she's starting to believe me. Everybody's slowly starting to believe me. And then after they found that out, like 2 months after, like I've completely gotten over it. I smoke weed more often now, just like dispensary shit. Weed's legal in like all of Canada. So I'm smoking dispensary shit, and now I smoke dispensary shit. But I'm talking to my cousin. She's like, "So remember how you didn't want to do a popper?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't fuck with nicotine." She's like, "Yeah, I packed you a popper." I was like, "Is that why I cough so hard?" She's like, "Yeah, I thought it would be funny." It was. I was like, "Fuck you, asshole. I did not want to do a popper. I am never smoking with you ever again. You're a piece of shit. Yes, you're still my cousin, but fuck you. I've never smoked with her again, and I promise you I never will. Because if she knows that I don't fuck with nicotine, and she knows that I've made a life decision where I don't want to fuck with tobacco products, then why would she pack me a fucking popper?" For those of you who don't know what that is, a popper is basically you cut open a cigarette, and pack it with your weed. I did a popper. So I got fucked up, so fucked up. It's not even funny. I'm pissed off. I'm laced. Blah, blah, blah. So, moral of the story is, if I just would have walked to my mother's work like I usually do when I miss my bus, if I would have just walked to my mom's work and waited for my dad to pick me up, I would not have gotten laced. And another moral of the story is, don't buy off sketchy West Side dealers, especially if their boyfriend's a fucking crackhead. So yeah, all she had to do was reach in the wrong drawer and give me heroin. And I'm still a little bit skeptical about whether or not they laced my weed on purpose because they thought it would be funny, because nobody else got as fucked up as I did, and I did 1 toke. That's a very, very small amount of weed. 1 toke. So yeah, I don't even fuck with S anymore. I haven't spoken to him in almost 3 months. I don't even fuck with him. In my opinion, he's a piece of shit. S, if you're seeing this, fuck you. You know who you are. T, she's chill. She was there when she bought the weed, but she apologized. S didn't even try. So, T is in my gym class still. I still, hang out with her. We're chill. But K, I'm never smoking weed with her again. I still think that's fucked up that she decided to pack me a popper. But other than that, I still hang out with her because, she's my cousin. Yeah, moral of the story, don't fuck with sketchy West Side dealers. Don't fuck with sketchy dealers in general. If you have a plug, make sure that you've known them for years. Make sure you can fucking trust them. Get them off family members if you can. If your dad's anti-weed, but you have a fucking uncle who is very chill with that shit and will give you weed, smoke his weed. Even if you only get to smoke once a month, smoke his weed. It is not worth the pain, and I could have fucking overdosed. I have such a low tolerance to everything that if I would have taken a second toke, because I was so fucked up for 7 hours, if I would have taken a second toke, I guarantee you I would not be making YouTube videos right now. I would be fucking dead. That is how fucked up I was. So, basically, don't smoke laced weed. If you're gonna smoke weed, I'm not gonna encourage it, but I'm not gonna discourage it. Weed is my favorite thing ever. But just know where you're getting your shit, because it's a fucked up place we're in. There's people in my fucking old middle school who are lacing their weed with meth. They're lacing their weed with fentanyl. If I would have bought off a sketchy dealer in grade 9, like I almost did, I could be dead right now. Off meth, fentanyl. Fentanyl is so fucked up, 1 milligram of that shit can fucking kill you. It's so bizarre how you think you can trust somebody, but you can't. Also, moral of the story, S, I kept your name hidden. If you're watching this, I kept your name hidden this whole video, so I'm gonna say something about why I don't fuck with you anymore. He's turned into an all-out crackhead. There's CCTV of S, scoping out a house at 3:30 in the morning, ringing the doorbell, and fucking just being an all-out piece of shit. I do not fuck with him. He's trying to break into houses. He's selling stolen shit now. He has turned from a homie that I met in computers class to a piece of shit. So I don't fuck with him anymore. T is cool. They've broken up since then because he was using her for weed. T is cool. K, I hang out with her. I don't smoke weed with her. And S, fuck him. He can fuck himself. Fuck you, S. So yeah, that's this video. That's the whole story time. Tell me what you think about story times. If you want me to do more, I've got a couple more. I could do dream story times on dreams I've had. I could do BMX story times. I could do fucking bike crashing, dirt bikes, anything like that. If you want me to do a story time, leave a comment on this video. Tell me what you want me to do. Thank you so much for watching this video up to here. If you like this video, subscribe, all that shit. Leave a comment on what you want me to do. Thank you so much for watching up to here. And do not fuck with sketchy West Side dealers. Thank you and good night. Hey guys, just real quick before this video is over, did you know that only 30.3% of you guys are actually subscribed to my channel and watching my videos? The other 69.7 are not subscribed. So real quick, if you're watching this video and you actually like what you're seeing, please subscribe. It would make my day. Thank you.